How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Good day of work. This event is always fun. A great opportunity for our guys to get a big picture of what's going on in the city and be a part of something that's bigger than themselves. Obviously, with Mike and Mark's experience with St. Jude, and then being the ambassadors, they spread the word to our guys and around the league about how important it is and how important this event is. The donations, not only of the money, but your time and what it can mean to the families that are there at St. Jude.
How cool was it to see the players actually get the chance to walk out with some of the St. Jude faces?
Well, it was awesome. I think, when you are who our players are and the weight that they carry, the impact that you can have on other people's lives is a breath of fresh air. We get so caught up in what we're doing every day that to actually spend some time with somebody who has, real issues, not just on court issues, I think it's helpful, it's humbling, and anytime you can impact somebody else's life, and especially, kids, how much they look up to our guys, and just spending a moment with them, can change their day or put a smile on their face. It's definitely worth it.
Where are you in terms of figuring out combinations, starting lineup, whatever? I mean, you know in your head, I don't expect you to tell us, but do you know now?
Yeah, we've got it done. Again, preseason was good for us to experiment. We saw some things that we liked. We saw some groups that we liked. We were impressed with, some guys. So we're prepared now to go into the season. We have our starting lineup in, and then, our bench can change night by night depending on what we may need from somebody. But for the most part, our starting lineup's in place.
Are you still? You mentioned 10 deep sometimes. How do you think about that?
Well, it's 10 most nights, and then there's going to be times where we can get into the 11. When you just need a spark. We've got guys that have the capability to have an impact quickly, and they may not have long runs, but there may be a night where you can't score. There might be a night where you just need a boost of energy and some speed. There's so many different things that we have, and we're fortunate to have guys on our bench that can come in and fill that role for us.
Is the rebounding a concern at this point? Obviously, rebounding was not great in preseason.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. We've got to be better. And for us, like we said, our guys have always been willing to do what we've asked them to do. We don't expect that to be any different, but for us, it's going to be, everybody's got to collectively rebound the ball. Guys aren't going to just uptick, 6 rebounds here, 8 rebounds as an individual. So, our guys have to do it as a unit. And what we have to learn about is, teams are shooting so many threes now that it's not just your big's responsibility to rebound the ball. Our smalls are going to have to chase down the long rebounds. We got to be quick to the ball and be in a good defensive position so we can go get them.
Chandler started every preseason game. Is that, if you go that direction, can he hold up? Are you assuming he can hold up?
That's the goal. That's the way we're looking at it. We're being optimistic about it. We'll still pay attention to how much, he plays. There isn't a number. We haven't been given any limitations, but I think you just have to be wise in that. But our hope is he can play as many games as he can and as many minutes as he can.
You've never coached, as a head coach, you've never coached a game at 0-0. That'll be different. How will it feel?
It feels good because we've actually had some time to work. You've had time to come up with a plan, put a plan in place, spend 4 weeks working at it, getting after it, and then you kind of know what to expect instead of just kind of being thrown on the fire and trying to make some changes in what have been not great situations.
Have you figured out how to use Kyle? He's, because of his injury, it's held it up a little bit.
Yeah, it's been a little slower than we would have liked because he missed a couple games, he missed the practices around those games, but having a good feel just of who he is and who he's been, and his ability to adapt and play multiple positions and his high level of IQ. It makes it a little bit easier, but we're still, he needs some games to be played with his teammates. I think that's the most important part is, figuring out where he's going to be on the floor, him figuring out where his teammates like the ball and those types of things. So it's going to take a little bit of time to build that chemistry.
You've been around Mike and Mark now a couple of years. What to you is the thing that sticks out most about just their relationship and what they mean? What have you learned about them over these couple of years that you didn't know from afar?
Well, you always assume things when you saw them. They have that reputation, but to be around it every day, their high level of character you know, is unmatched. And to have two guys that are that good of basketball players and that are genuinely that good of people, you know, I think that's huge. You know, as an organization, to be able to have those guys be your bookends in the face of your franchise. As a coach, it's a dream because you can coach them hard. You know, you can get on them, you hold them to high standards, and never once is it, you know, any backlash or it's, yes, coach, you know, how can I do it? What do we need to do? How do we get it done? So I think it's, you know, we're in a very lucky situation to have two high caliber players who are high character as well. Quite a bit of it. Like I said, though, you know, with only having the 5 games of preseason and the 2 weeks surrounding it, we're still at the base of what we're going to do. And obviously, as the season goes on, you know, we'll get better at what we do, and then we'll start to sprinkle some different things in, you know, and kind of adapt as needed. But we like to try to put our foundation in and, you know, make adjustments from there.
Is it safe to assume he is your backup point this season?
Yeah, he will be. He's, I mean, he's earned it. So, you know, everything, you know, we've asked to do, you know, the character, the IQ, the, you know, the skill set, you know, just the understanding of the game and how to organize. He's been really good at it, and, you know, we've been pleasantly surprised by, you know, how much he can do, how much more there is left in his tank.
Coach, when you look at the start of the season, some coaches say, well, it's a 5-game segment, it's a 3-game segment, we want to go 2-1. Do you approach the start of the year like that, especially with so many new guys? No,
we're just trying to focus on what we do, you know, and how can we get good at what we're trying to get done. You know, all the small things, the details, that's where our focus is. And, you know, we trust in the fact that if we do more of the small things on a nightly basis, the results will be, you know, in our favor. But the focus has to be on those small things in the details. You know, the teams that make the least amount of mistakes are normally the teams that end up winning. So that's where our focus is.